Since childhood, you have lived with an unshakable feeling. It seems to you that somewhere behind your eyes sits a little passenger who controls the body, hears sounds, and makes decisions. Modern neuroscience suggests a different timeline for our choices. In 2008, experiments at the Max Planck Institute showed that neural networks formulate a decision 7 to 10 seconds before you are even aware of it. Your body acts, and the very feeling that you personally made the decision is generated by the brain after the fact. It is a beautiful special effect, a post hoc explanation for an action already in motion. Cognitive scientist Donald Hoffman uses evolutionary game theory to argue that our perception is a survival tool. According to his interface theory, the probability that we are seeing objective reality at any given moment is exactly 0. The eye that supposedly controls your life is a neurobiological illusion. It is a system commentator that is always running late. Try to find this separate I right now. Look inside yourself and try to locate the one who is looking. You will find thoughts, a pulse, and the sensation of breath, but you will not find a central observer. These are all simply objects flashing in a boundless space of awareness. Even the thought, I exist, is just another object passing by, like a car on the street. It appears, lingers, and then vanishes. This creates a difficult contradiction. If each of the 8 billion people on Earth generates their own personal, isolated hologram of reality, why are these holograms perfectly synchronized? Why do we all agree on the shapes, distances, and density of the matter around us? To understand why our personal worlds match, we have to look past the biological filter to see what is actually gazing through the keyhole of our personality. When you think about your plans or memories, a neural architecture called the default mode network lights up. It acts as a biological limiting valve, cutting off 99% of incoming data, so the avatar isn't overwhelmed by a raw, uncompressed universe. The default mode network intercepts the remaining crumbs of information and glues them together. It constructs a story about who you are and what you are seeing. This creates a highly compressed 3D model of the room around you and the very idea of me. What we call reality is a controlled hallucination constructed in real time. We can measure this process in the lab. When the activity of this network is suppressed through deep meditation or extreme biological shock, the feeling of being a separate person disappears, yet consciousness remains crystal clear. When the personality interface is unplugged, the process of life continues without anyone specifically living it. General anesthesia provides a different result by powering down the reality rendering mechanism and the memory apparatus. When the headset turns back on, the mind finds no recorded files in the memory and concludes that existence itself had stopped. You exist as a state of pure being during those gaps, but your avatar is simply incapable of recording the experience. Consider how a multiplayer online game handles a shared world. You and a friend can walk up to the same virtual tree because your devices are connected to a single server. The tree doesn't exist as physical matter inside the computer. It exists as immaterial information code in a central database. Our reality functions on a similar principle. This central database is the unified field of consciousness, and our biological bodies are the decoding devices. Because all humans share a practically identical genetic code, our sensory hardware unpacks the data of the universe using the same algorithms. We see the same moon because we are using identical biological drivers to decode the same source file. Our shared reality is the result of billions of empty biological avatars, all rendering the same code from the same source. This raises a new question. If only one consciousness exists, how can it become a multitude of different people without actually dividing into pieces? Philosopher Bernardo Kastrup suggests we imagine an infinite ocean where the water flows freely. Occasionally, the water swirls into whirlpools. A whirlpool has a clear shape and boundary, appearing as a separate object. Every person is such a whirlpool, a temporary localization of consciousness with its own unique memories and traumas. You cannot take the whirlpool out of the ocean because it is simply a behavior of the water itself. There is nothing in the whirlpool except the ocean. When you look at a stranger, you are looking at the same pure awareness that looks through your own eyes. The difference lies only in the content of the experience, not the observer. If the physical world is an illusion, the standard question is why we shouldn't simply step in front of a speeding truck. An illusion is simply something that is not what it appears to be. Your physical body is a biological avatar, woven from the same quantum code as the truck. Physical pain is a functioning signal from the security system of your VR headset. It is an evolutionary filter warning you that the decoding device is about to be destroyed. All human anxiety and the fear of death rely on the belief that you are a small, separate fragment that must defend itself against a hostile world. When the biological interface fails, the character doesn't die. The whirlpool simply quietly dissolves, becoming the smooth, peaceful surface of the ocean once again.